Welcome here to BBC News. Your assessment of the move from Joe Biden to head to Israel and the region, what does that tell you?
Well, Matthew, it's great to be with you, and it demonstrates that President Biden is showing real American leadership, and it's a very high-risk move in how he's doing this. This is unprecedented to have the President of the United States go into a war zone directly and publicly announce it ahead of time. We did see him go to Ukraine. He visited, went by train to Kyiv, but that was all secret until it was announced that he was there. So he's going there with a real mission. He's going there to keep the region calm as best as possible and to show the Israeli support and hopefully to knock out some of these stuck deals that are really getting in the way of any progress on the humanitarian side and on the counterterrorism side as well. And so it's a high-risk, high-stakes move, but certainly shows real leadership.
What did you mean about knocking out some of the clutter? Tell me more about that, and Tell me more, too, about the risks, your assessment of what the risk is here for the president doing this.
Yeah, look, Matthew, I mean, the Rafah border crossing I've been to, I was there as a young man crossing, and I was there as a diplomat as well. That is a border of significance, and the Egyptians are holding on to that card so they can leverage it for something that they want, which is, as your reporter said, a demonstration of real humanitarian assistance into Gaza. And the Israelis, on the other hand, are rightly nervous about what gets in. And then, of course, these civilians are caught in the middle. So this kind of situation, the question of the humanitarian assistance in particular, that has to get resolved. And that will then open up this next wave, the potential ground invasion as well, which, of course, is what Prime Minister Netanyahu says he wants to do. But for President Biden, by going there, the high risk is that he is seen by some as abetting an Israeli invasion, and then by others as perhaps holding it back. And he clearly doesn't seem to mind either way, and views this as a major national security challenge and a role for the United States to show that we can lead.
At the start of that answer, you talked about trying to open up that humanitarian corridor. You said it, and you made it sound almost simple. It is exactly the opposite because, of course, Israel has introduced this siege. They are really clear about their tactics. So it is going to take quite some diplomatic effort to get them to pivot, isn't it?
Well, it's anything but simple, and I certainly wouldn't want to give the impression that it is. But at the end of the day, it's about decisions by the decision makers on what to do. There will be physical challenges in execution, but the decision makers are essentially looking at each other and trying to play a game of chicken, as we say here in the States, and see who blinks first. I think that's where President Biden comes in. He's got strong relationships across the region. He's going to be speaking with the key players and trying to make sure they understand that the world is watching, that humanitarian assistance does need to get to the Palestinians, that these third country nationals do have a right to exit a war zone, and that the Israelis do have a right to ensure that what's getting into Gaza won't threaten their citizens further. I think that he can get those decision makers together to create an actual diplomatic agreement that then allows the hard work to follow.
When Joe Biden gets to Tel Aviv, do you think he'll want to be able to hear an exit strategy from Israel? What happens once they have achieved, if they can achieve, their military objectives? Is that part of the equation of what a president would want in a situation like this?
Well, what's been really interesting to watch is that for Joe Biden, he is really integrating the political and the military objectives, and he is building in the Israeli public tremendous sweat equity. His ratings are sky high. That gives him some latitude to tell the Israelis, for example, to not have an invasion that can preclude the potential for reconciliation, to think about a day after. He spoke about the need for a Palestinian state Sunday night in an interview. And so he's going to be carrying those messages because this action, just as other actions and fights between Israel and the Palestinians and in Gaza, it can't be a military divorced from the politics and global opinion. They're all part of the same mix. And so that's where President Biden can go to the Israelis and say, you know, I have your back. You know it. You've seen it. We're going to support you. But we're also thinking about you over the long run. And we need to ensure that you have a political program that matches the military program that you're putting together.
You also, of course, have the nightmare of the hostage situation running in parallel. We were just listening to Chancellor Scholz from Germany, who was meeting with Israel's Prime Minister, and he said in the last little while, we must prevent a fire from spreading in the region. No actor should see it as a good idea to intervene in this conflict. That is the crucial worry internationally, isn't it, that this spreads. And actually, when you hear the noises out of Iran over the last 24 hours, you see what is happening on the border with Lebanon. It is a genuine, realistic worry, isn't it?
Without a doubt. Iran has raised its voice and threatened to a certain extent, and the United States, by putting our aircraft carrier groups in the Eastern Mediterranean, are saying that, no, you cannot get engaged. You should not get engaged. And that message is going through third parties as well directly. We saw Hamas and Iranian leaders meet in Doha recently, and hopefully that message is coming through. I do want to also mention your point about the hostages. It is a grave human rights violation to parade hostages on TV before a global audience. It is deplorable. It is unconscionable, and these hostages should be released immediately. It turns the stomach to see what they did to that young woman who was just paraded out last night on social media, on TV. And that just can't be accepted anywhere. And hopefully Iran also understands that the United States is serious and that it will stay out and let this theater be the theater. And then with President Biden engaged and all the countries he's speaking to, try to make sure that this does not spread, because that would be a disaster for all countries.
I suppose one of the obvious difficulties is how this plays out in the coming days, because all the indications are of some sort of ground incursion. We've already seen what is happening on the ground, and that is the difficulty, isn't it? That all of those countries in the region are watching those pictures, seeing and hearing the accounts, and it does have the potential so quickly to escalate, doesn't it?
It does, Matthew. It really does. The Israeli Defense Forces have not been eager to return to Gaza militarily on the ground ever since departing completely in 2005, 2006. And that's for a reason, because Hamas has booby-trapped the Gaza Strip. There are major civilian casualties happening right now. Cities are being decimated. So this has the potential, from an urban warfare perspective, to be incredibly difficult and bloody. And that, of course, will make everybody watching all around the region very nervous and very concerned, and raise tensions globally as well.
Joel Rubin, we are